What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to some more Marvel Snap. Sorry for a little bit lapse in videos. I went on vacation to visit my family in New Jersey, and I only had a couple videos ready to go. But we are back. Today, we're going to be probably having a bit of a shorter video. I wanted to talk about the newest location that was added to the game. It probably will still be featured by the time you guys see this video, but it'll be on the end of its kind of featured cycle. And that is Project Pegasus. It is a location that gives you +5 energy this turn. So I want to talk a bit about the location, some ways that you could take advantage of it, and I kind of wanted to start breaking down kind of all of the locations, but we'll focus on the featured ones and the new ones as they come about. So, +5 energy, honestly, on the surface, it's quite easy to take advantage of. Have big cards in your deck, this allows you to play them earlier. So, your 6 costs, take your pick, Hulk, your Giganto on the left side. You could play anything that's really any card in the game is playable. And depending on where Project Pegasus is revealed, let's say I pass turn 1, turn 2, Project Pegasus is the middle location, you could potentially even play your Infinite on turn 2. But those are some of the more obvious applications, just playing your big stuff early. But I think there's some other more nuanced uses that you could do with 5 energy. Including, like, if you're just playing a regular deck that runs Sunspot, obviously Sunspot likes spare energy. The only issue with Sunspot is easily killable, and as far as Project Pegasus goes, there's probably better things you want to do with the extra energy. But regardless, Sunspot is still a decent use of Project Pegasus if your deck has no other ways to leverage, or maybe you didn't draw them. Sunspot is a decent fallback plan. Another, I don't want to say under the radar choice, because I'm sure people were doing this. I think a decent choice, especially if it was like a turn 1 Project Pegasus, would be to just plop down your Sarah turn 1 as well. And if you're like given the choice between like Sarah on turn 1 or Hulk on turn 1, obviously Hulk is far more points, but Sarah, if you get her out on turn 1, you're getting 5 turns of energy reduction. That just makes your game plan as a whole much stronger, especially if you have heavier cards in your deck. So I think Sarah on turn 1 is, if not one of the better options, probably at least a very fair option for Project Pegasus as well. Another one of my favorite things that I've done, although I really haven't seen Project Pegasus come up that much, I've only rolled it like 3 times, I like just plopping down a leader. One of the main decks I've been running right now is like a mana cheat deck, so it has Leader and Odin. So I'm just plopping down Leader on Project Pegasus, copying whatever your play is and getting that 4 power advantage, with the intention of later in the game using Odin on my Leader to copy your card again. So that deck really just tries to cheat out a couple big things, stay just ahead enough where Leader guarantees the win. So that's something I'm really enjoying doing. That deck also has another combo that Project Pegasus allows you to do, which is the Lady Sif Ghost Rider combo. So if you have both of those cards, you can actually do both on turn 1, which is obviously quite nice. You're playing, 3 cards out on turn 1, so you're kind of... It's not quite all in, but you are committing quite hard to one location early on, but it's still a very solid power swing you can take. Another thing I think you should probably be keeping in mind with locations like this is things like Shang-Chi. He was great with the last location too, with the Gamma Lab to kill all the Hulks. Just knowing that there's this +5 energy boost and your opponents are more than likely going to play more 6 cost cards in order to compensate for that potential extra energy, you're more than likely going to see some heavier cards come into play, and just having Shang-Chi ready is good for that. And I think even beyond that, the +5 energy is good for non-high power swings. So kind of like the Lady Sif Ghost Rider combo I just mentioned, any other kind of combo-oriented decks that you need a turn of setup, Project Pegasus can let you do that setup on turn 1 potentially. So like if you're playing a Mr. Negative deck, you can get a potential turn 1 Mr. Negative. If you're doing just like a Wong, any kind of Wong shenanigans, whether it's on reveal or like the Wong going deck, being able to get your Wong out on turn 1 and not having to spend your turn 4/5 on setup, maybe just doing turn 1 Wong. You don't necessarily get to do the Mystique setup after that, but you still get a turn 1 Wong potentially. And yeah, any kind of those combo type decks that needs a turn to set up your combo piece works out just well for you as well. Even if you're playing like Mr. Negative and you don't draw Mr. Negative, you can even use that turn 1 just to preemptively play Magic if you have Magic in your opening hand. Just because Mr. Negative deck is probably going to play Magic at some point anyway, so might as well get it out of the way turn 1. So yeah, Project Pegasus, in my opinion, is almost like the flip side of Gamma Lab from last week. I think they both are very similar locations in terms of what they're trying to do. Project Pegasus is a little bit more flexible. Gamma Lab kind of is like incentivizing you to play maybe more cheaper cards in your deck than you normally would play, whereas Project Pegasus is like, hey, you're going to have this extra energy potentially, maybe plop in an extra 6 cost or 2. But whereas Project Pegasus, I think, has more widespread applications is those combo plays I mentioned. It's not just for playing heavy cards. You could play your Project Pegasus. You could play even like a Bishop and a couple cheap cards if you want. If you're playing Falcon Bounce, you can play, your 3 1-drops plus Beast on turn 1 if you have to. Or 3 1-drops plus Falcon. So Project Pegasus really just plays into like all decks, and it kind of is just a boost for whoever drew a bit better on the turn Project Pegasus reveals, as well as what your high end is for your deck. But really, honestly, any deck in the game should be able to leverage +5 energy on a given turn. It's just a matter of who can leverage that +5 energy, but also have enough sustained resources where you're not just completely out. Like I mentioned, the Lady Sif Ghost Rider play is solid, but you're playing 3 of your 5 cards on turn 1. So unless the rest of your deck has enough high cost cards to kind of continuously fill out your curve for the rest of the game, like if the rest of your deck was 1 cost cards, and now you played all of that power on turn 1, and now you have no follow-up the rest of the game, it's not really worth it. So you have to keep that in mind for the combos that you may want to leverage. Obviously, it's only going to be a featured location for now. Moving forward, this would just pop up in the future. So it's really hard to build around specific locations being random, but while these locations are featured, these are things you should be keeping in mind to maybe tweak even an existing deck build to be able to leverage this better. So yeah, there's a lot of great decks. I think Mr. Negative is one of the best decks in the game right now, so I think it only gets better with Project Pegasus. Wongoing is a relatively pilot-friendly deck that I think plays quite well with Project Pegasus as well. Or if you're just playing like a Hela or other, like, I want to play big dumb cards as often as possible, like I'm playing that mana cheating deck I was talking about, I think all of those are great ones to leverage Project Pegasus with as well. But also whatever your favorite personal deck is probably is going to like it quite a bit as well. But yeah, that's going to be it for now, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I want to do more of these location breakdowns in addition to Wheel of Snap. I think regular deck breakdowns we're going to try and just do for themed, meme, like specific decks. I'm going to probably try and leave the specific deck showcases, like meta decks and things like that, to the better players to showcase. I think they're more equipped than I am. So we're going to do some more fun stuff on this channel, or kind of educational content like this. But yeah, thank you guys all very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.